Battlelords of the 23rd century!
As the last cartridge from, or the last shell casing, as the last shell casing from Szak's minigun falls to the floor, ting, ting, the smoke rises up from the end of the barrel. The smell of gunpowder and energy beam weapons fills the air, as well as burnt flesh, and there's silence. In front of you, you can see the two pirates. They're obviously now... Your ears sort of ring from the sound of the gunshots, having, especially in an enclosed space inside the elevator. Szak has, bits of glue still stuck to the side of his face and on his hands. Around the corridor, you can see bullet holes in the walls behind the two pirates, and blood starting to ooze away from the bodies on the ground in front of you. And off in the distance, down... outside of the sort of the it's like a, I can't think of the word for it, like a courtyard or something, but down through one of the corridors, which goes off, branches off in the spoke configuration towards what looks to be like the diners area. There's a short hallway, and at the end of the hallway there's stairs that go up to like a platform that has a rail around it, and beyond that you can see some tables with people's patrons slumped over the tables. There's an orange mist in the air that's sort of wafting down into the corridor, but it's thick. Looks like it's fairly thick inside the restaurant area, the diner area. You can hear the sounds of some yelling coming from down that section, and they've obviously been alerted to your presence. Are any of you looking down that way?
Is there any cover?
If there's yelling.
No, it's a straight corridor down. Now, the elevator comes up to the center of the spoke configuration, right? So it goes the courtyard. It's basically a courtyard with picture frames hanging up on the walls, various plants that are scattered throughout around, and it's a circular configuration that centers around four elevators in the center of this spoke configuration. This just happens to be the service elevator for the workers of the resort. The two pirates that were in front of you that you dispatched, their armor was very poor looking. The corridors and the walls and everything, crisp, clean white. So it's really, it's a well-presented space station, compared to the area that you've just come from, right? So you've come from the bowels, the depths of this resort, where everything's almost, constantly dirty. And considering, where you come from, everything is always dirty. So this place is really clean. The only thing that hints at not being clean is the orange mist that is seeping down the only hallway where, as I said, appears to be towards the diner room. It looks like that they had taken them off because they were no longer in the area, probably. There's no gas down here. By the time the gas actually seeps down through the hallway, it starts to sort of dissipate into the air, and there's no gas this way. So it looks like it's being sucked in through some of the ventilation systems down the hallway. You can see that's how it's being removed from the area. But still within the dining area, down the end of a 30-foot long corridor, the smoke looks relatively thick. You can see through it one dining table with some patrons slumped over the dining table, and some dark movement, shadows moving through the backdrop of that, and yelling.
All right, well, we've got 2 gas masks if we need to go there. But only 2.
I'll take one.
Well,
The people that you killed in front of you are either Orions or humans.
Alright, Arkeeak will grab one and then take as much cover as he can against the wall, looking down the corridor, waiting for the bad guys.
I should be fine without a gas mask.
should you? Didn't you have a lot of trouble with this not that long ago?
It's possible, but I think I may have adapted to it.
All right. So Arkeeak's off to one side. As I said, the corridor is relatively clean, well lit. The ventilation systems looks like they're still working, and down the end of the corridor is 30 feet long, and it would be wide enough to fit 3 humans shoulder to shoulder down. So what's that? 2, 4, 6, 7 feet.
And Arkeeak will go prone and use one of the bodies as some cover. So Arkeeak's going to run forward just a little and grab one of the bodies and drag it a little bit down the hall so that there's enough room for him. And then he's going to pull the gas mask off the corpse, and the head's going to make a dunk sound as he doesn't worry about letting it down because the guy's dead. And then he's going to lay down prone behind the body looking down the hall, so using the corpse as just a little bit of cover. And trying to keep the hall clear for Szak with a minigun. Actually, I said he was pragmatic. So he's very...
Pragmatic.
He's very pragmatic.
Yeah, he's very pragmatic about these things.
He's the epitome of pragmatic.
He's also wearing a white jumpsuit that's not his, so...
That's fair.
Oh, yes, you're all wearing the white
jump. Yeah.
The jumpsuit.
The jump shoots.
Jumpsuits. There's now a long trail of blood that leads up to, where you've dragged the body to.
Don't worry, I don't need a gas mask because, well, I made the mistake before of creating a mouth and inhaling some of the gas. But I'll be fine as long as I don't do that.
Okay. Don't do that, I guess. And Terra will take the other gas mask and put it on.
Oh my god, initiative.
Which is a 20 or?
I think it's a D20. Hang on. And someone's going to die.
Well, 2 pirates already did, so...
No one within range. There's just sort of shadowy figures moving around. It would be pretty hard to try and take a shot through the smoke.
Okay, so I guess I'm moving forward then.
Yeah, the orange smoke's pretty thick, and at the end of the 30-foot corridor is like a stairway that sort of leads up around to the left, and there's rails going up, but the rails you can see through, but it's like a grilled rail, not grilled as in cooked, but, as in got grills on it. But you can see one table that's sort of next, overlooking the stairs with some patrons slumped over, and behind them is a couple of, dark, shadowy figures.
Do the figures look humanoid, or do they look...
They definitely, they look humanoid. But what you do see, even though you did fail, you still did it quite well. You, as you start walking down the corridor, you can tell that they have set up position around. It looks like they're hiding. There's a couple that's hiding behind some of the patrons at the first table, but you also know there are possibly one or two at the end of the corridor and using the end of the corridor as cover. And if you didn't see any, that's what you would probably do.
Szak, see ambush up ahead.
Oh.
Many enemies.
Wonderful.
All right. How far ahead did Szak walk?
Yeah, not very far, obviously, because the gas is, or the potential of gas is a concern.
The gas flowing down into the corridor is dissipating through the ventilation systems. By the time at the end of the corridor, it's fairly thick, but it's sort of like around waist high level because it's flowing from a higher level down to the corridor, and then about halfway. At the halfway point of the corridor, most of the gas has been dissipated through the ventilation systems.
Okay. So, yeah, he didn't move too far then. He's going to hold ground where he is and wait for the gas to dissipate, and then...
Okay. So the Motsian, who normally kind of slides pretty close to the ground, is going to grow 4 sort of tendril appendages and push them against the ground and elevate his body above the gas. And he's going to walk up to where Szak is. And he can't see very well, but his hearing is really good. So I'd like to see if I can hear the enemies anywhere.
Faintly hear the sounds of a couple moving that seem to be moving at a distance, and they appear to you suspect they might be heading away, and you can hear the sound of whispering coming from just at the end of the corridor. The only reason you can hear the whispering is because they're trying to whisper through gas masks. So they're not exactly whispering, but it's muffled, and you could hear them saying, like, what? Okay, so you can hear someone giving orders from within the room. Suspect that there's 2 behind the first table and an additional 2 at the end of the corridor, and you can hear another 2 moving away from the room.
I hear 2 of them at the end of the corridor, and I think there's 2 more a little bit further beyond. They seem to be arguing about something or talking to one another in whispers.
I mean, she's just probably going to move up to where Szak and Motzi are.
Okay, I'll grab a potted plant. I'm assuming I will grab like a small to medium-sized one. Assuming there is one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I will use my tendrils and chuck it down the hallway.
Okay. And it crashes down through the hallway and dirt spills everywhere and the plant rolls off to sort of one side.
Do they peek their heads out?
Yes. One on the right does. Aaron.
What's the...
Rel Visionary.
Visionary?
Visionary?
Visionary? Yes, become a visionary, Aaron.
Yes, please. Enlighten us.
I'm trying.
There's a moment of silence and
I become Jesus.
And
Arkeeak enlightens us all, and we form a cult. The end.
Come, my brothers
oh
and sisters.
god, another cult.
We convert the pirates, and they stop killing everyone, and...
There's nothing that says conversion like a hole in the head.
I guess we convert them into slightly less alive versions of them.
You are now a dragonfly, my son.
None of that was recorded, so please leave that in and confuse everyone.
So Arkeeak's just laying there going, okay, this is going to be a weird standoff because they're not going to come forward and we're not going to come forward and nothing's going to happen. And then Szak's going to lose his crap and go charging down there and it's just going to be a big mess. And that's when he sees his pot plant go flying down the hall. And he starts going, and he's got one hand on the side of the rifle, and he starts just rubbing the side of his head a little and he just starts rubbing the side of his head because he's just like, that is so dumb. That's never gonna work. And then he sees this gas mask head, like, lean around and pick up the fragments of the pot which has landed next to him. He starts looking at it. And it takes Arkeeak a couple of seconds to realise, oh yeah, I could shoot this guy. And the pirate turns and looks down the hall. And he's possibly thinking, oh no, don't let me die with this really boring pot plant in my hand. And that's when he gets shot in the temple. And there's a big spark as the energy round hits him. And he gets knocked over backwards, and Arkeeak's not sure if he's alive or dead, but he can see that he's laying there and he's not moving. And the pot plant again rolls away, which has been the most movement either side has made. And Arkeeak reloads.
That was good.
They're like, okay, we didn't expect them to start throwing plants at us. What is happening?
Don't mock my strategy.
If it works, it works.
Muffled shouts come from down the hallway as the body of the pirate that was just received his penance is pulled off to the side. Blood sort of strews behind him. As the pot plant sort of parts of the pot plant roll around.
Terra, who's been sort of standing there and looking very much like she feels This will probably all be taken care of by the other people, and she won't have to do anything. Suddenly has a look of realization and will say, Thomas made such a big deal about this wheel and spoke thing, and we still forgot. There are other hallways that connect to this courtyard, and that probably means people could come up behind us.
Are you going to guard that then?
It can try. Why don't you?
I was busy. And it's
You
your
threw a
idea.
plant. It's not my idea, it's simply the layout of the building.
I don't think we have time for this conversation, but someone should guard the back. I'm agreeing with you.
I didn't say anything about that. I just said people could come up behind us. And she's gonna turn and face the other way, in case people show up behind them.
Behind the table, you see two shadowy figures raise up behind the table, and you can hear them yelling out something. I think Motzi, you can hear this muffled "Bastards!" One of them fires a gun. You see, you don't really see a muzzle flash per se, but this projectile of fluid lands about halfway down the corridor. And sort of splatters on the floor. It looks like it's the same sort of similar sticky muck that Szak had copped before in the face and the leg. But the second guy had... Motzi hears from down behind the hall, behind the table, a pop. It is sort of an extra bit of smoke and a flash, and this large, almost baseball-sized projectile smacks him fair in the chest, and
define chest. Center mass?
Center. Okay, so it hits your center mass, which your armor would absorb, but then it explodes in a ball of electricity. And electricity bursts all around you, but your armor, I guess, being from the alloy metals that it's made of, absorbed it and earthed it through the ground. Okay, so it literally hits you right in the center mass and explodes into a ball of electricity. You would think that under normal circumstances this would probably be quite a serious shock, but your armor has absorbed the hit. You see in the distance two shadows stand up behind the first table. You would probably think they would be pretty hard to hit at this range.
Has the gas dissipated at all?
It's starting to, but it's still pretty thick within the room. But it's definitely lowering. It's sort of... it was up to, like, if you were standing, it'd be like... it would have been at head height, but it's come down probably about a foot now.
Same thing, I will hold my action.
I can hear and smell above the gas where I think they might be. Alright, so the Matian fires off a shot from his elevated vantage point above the gas and tries to hit the the pirates behind cover. So the Matian, from his elevated vantage point, fires a shot at the pirate in cover, but the shot goes wide and just barely glances off a beam in front of the rear. Is it the rear window or the front window? Doesn't matter.
It's the outer window. It's like this large curved panel, right? So it's but clear, yeah.
Okay.
That provides these, spectacular views of the nebula outside while guests are having dinner or lunch or breakfast.
Okay. So we almost all joined the nebula, except maybe not, because you don't get sucked out into space. But
Not in real life.
The shot hits a beam that is just above the window, kind of bracing and supporting it. And there's like a scorch mark on it now from the pulse weapon. And the Montian will kind of move to one side so that others can get past him or go under him.
So, after they've returned fire with their grenade that Blobby seems to not be too happy about, Arkeeak is sort of trying to watch as they're moving in and out of cover, and just by chance one leans out when he's aiming in his reasonably close sort of area, so he moves the scope over quickly and squeezes the trigger. And he doesn't see exactly what the shot does because the viz is still not great, but the way the guy arm snaps back and he screams and spins around, he thinks he's put a round through his right arm. And there's a big flash as the firework round explodes. So, yeah, the arm does not seem to be bending in a way that is normally beneficial for a humanoid to have it in. And there's a clatter as his weapon hits the ground. And Arkeeak is quite pleased.
Fair.
Arkeeak reloads.
Yeah.
He goes to fire, and all of a sudden it's like it's seized.
Ooh. Oh no.
Szak fix.
Arkeeak moves he was waiting for this guy to die. And he was waiting for this guy to die. And he was waiting for this guy to die. Under a hail of minigun pellets. And instead the guy just starts to aim. So Arkeeak thinks there must be a different plan going on than the one he actually thought was the plan. He looks through the sight, decides to take the best shot he can, which is more center mass. And he whispers, "Give me the cheese, May," as he pulls the trigger. He sees the flash as the guy gets hit, and then he falls over. And then a couple of seconds later, the round explodes. And like a Roman candle, all this glittering energy starts going off behind wherever the guy is laying. Arkeeak reloads.
Well, she's just happy for the excuse to not do anything. So she's going to continue facing that way and be like, "Oh, good job, everybody. Great work. I've got you covered back here." Yep.
So he's clearing it right now, then.
Alright, I am going to try and make my way over to the guy in cover. Okay. I want to walk to the end of the corridor, listening as I go, and see If,
Okay.
if I can hear him, I'll stop. But if I can't, I'll keep walking.
Yep.
Plus 100.
Well.
Whoa, what's with all the high rolls?
We're
people?
We're rolling fantastically. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's still a success, though, with my hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess fair.
I have plus 100.
If anyone was there, they're keeping very, very quiet.
Okay. Then I will get to the corner and poke a eye stalk around. If he's within 10 meters, I should be able to see him.
Yep. You do that, and you cannot see anyone there.
Huh.
I don't see him, guys.
By the time you get to the end, the smoke's dropped another foot down near almost to the top of the tables.
I don't know where the last one ran off to.
I don't know.
And I will hold my remaining action till I see someone pirate looking.
Pirate looking.
Some poor guy came dressed as a pirate to the dress-up
just
dinner.
one of the guests is there dressed as a pirate. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Why did I wear this today? He
Yeah.
says. But it's too late.
Oh, they all have names even.
Oh. What are their names?
Okay, so the guys you killed first were Pete and Bob.
Pete and Bob.
And Aaron shot Ed through the temple, and then shot Ray through the right arm, and shot Smitty through the left arm.
I will be listening intently with my gun pointed down one of the side corridors, or wherever I think the person may have gone.
You notice where you are, the stairs in front of you, which lead up to the elevated dining room floor, which is about a meter above, and it has rails all around, and behind the dining floor is a huge, it's the huge window that looks out to the nebula. And around to the left, where you are, you can see, just in front of you is probably where guests would normally come. There's no one here at the little, I don't know what you'd call it, like a little pedestal thing with a notebook in it, or notepad. An electronic data pad which takes in guests and their names. Off to the right is a guy that's unconscious and bleeding from the temple in his head, and back around to the left, you can see that this sort of pathway leads down along to where the windows are, and then sort of there's a ramp that leads up around outside near the window, allowing guests to walk around the ramp and have a look outside. But several of the tables have people at them, and the smoke, or the fog, or the sleeping gas, the gaseous substance is still dissipating in the air, and also its level is lowering as well. You can see at this point the the gas is a little bit lower than the table now, and some of the guests are starting to come to. But there's no sign of anyone else.
Oh, good. They're not dead.
Looks like their intention was not to kill them, which is good.
Well, you did say there were the 2 canisters, the one knockout gas and the other was the poison. Or neurotoxin, or whatever you said.
The guy to your
yeah.
right that had been shot in the temple has a rucksack next to him it's on the ground with spilled jewels and things strewn across the walkway.
Do you think that is our bonus?
Nope, that's a motive. Knock out the guests. They're rich, steal their stuff. Why kill the staff, though?
Perhaps the staff would have stopped them.
They could have knocked the staff out, too. They specifically chose to kill them instead. My question is why?
It is a mystery.
Well, we weren't hired for mysteries, luckily.
Szak has fixed his gun.
Perfect. Is anyone left alive who actually works here? Because all these guests are gonna have questions, and again, not our job.
We should probably change out of the uniform then.
Yeah, sure. No point wearing these anymore. Terra will take the jumpsuit thing off.
The Mutzian absorbs his.
His clothes.
Yep.
He must have already. He's been shape changing all over the place. He can't actually have been wearing it.
I suppose he was hungry.
Well, so he had it stored inside of his gelatinous body.
Oh,
But
of course.
he then dissolved it.
Mm.
So he no longer has it inside of his body.
I see. Well, our job was pest control. Don't know if there's any of those rat things left. Don't know if there's any more piratey people. So do we go take a look around?
Do you think we will still get paid for this job?
Probably.
By who?
Look, whoever owns this place isn't here and isn't dead. And if they don't pay us, it's not us they answer to, it's the company.
Good argument.
And that said, whoever owns this place is still alive, and therefore if we don't finish the job, there's consequences.
Are you yelling this down the corridor?
No, I'm telling it to the Matzian who was asking.
Oh, yes, but you're at one end of the corridor, he was at the other.
I was right next to him.
Oh, did you go with him, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just shouting.
Yeah. Yeah, the gas is probably, around your ankles where you are. Mm-hmm.
Arkeeak's going to search the guys for loose change.
Huh?
Loose change?
Jewels? Because there were those.
Well, the guy that you shot in the temple had a bag full of, you were...
I had the two guys we killed from last week.
From us.
It sounds like it took you a week to get
did.
down there. No, 3...
It wasn't even a week, it was like a month ago. It took us a month to get out of the elevator and walk down the hallway.
Yep.
He's still at the elevator, so he's got the 2 dead bodies there he's searching.
Yep. Okay.
And there should be one next to me.
Yes, there is.
I will
That was
search him as well.
They don't
I will
have
supervise.
much in the way of loose change.
What about a note that says, "Here's why we're here and what we're doing"?
Here's why we killed the crew
The staff, and didn't.
Not
exactly.
the other guys. Okay.
Last will and testament, and also our motive, and who we are, and who we work for.
You have, that they had some, like, one guy had some mints in his pocket.
Some mints or mints?
Mints, I believe.
Mints with a T.
Mints.
He just got some hamburger for later.
Raw or cooked?
Well, I'm assuming raw. I guess he went through the cafeteria and went, "Oh, okay, I'll have this later.
I could use this for later.
Put this in my pocket. Yeah, I'll keep this."
After we kill the people when they come out of the elevator, I'm gonna go have myself a barbecue.
I'm going to use that grill over there that hasn't been cooked.
The grill.
The railing with the grill. Oh dear.
Yep. Well, they had a dialamatic.
Yes, they did.
Dialamatic fluid guns each, the two, which are about a quarter full of fluid. One guy had mints in his pocket, and the other guy, you find a deck of cards, a watch, matchsticks, and a packet of cigarettes.
And 1 penny.
a single penny.
Which Arkeeak will pocket.
Okay.
Not the mints.
Not the mints? You don't want the mints?
I'll take the mints.
Battlelords of the 23rd Century is available from 23rd Century Productions LLC, starring Emily as Terra, Shadow as some sort of nameless blob, Ken as Szak, Ghost as Arkeeak, and RavenInsane as the storyteller. Sounds and music provided by Syrinscape, Tabletop Audio, and other licensed options. This has been a Crit Fail production. Thanks for listening.